All right, we call this meeting to order at 6:30 on June 26, 2025. Roll call, please.
Balls you have here.
Mays here. Yeah, who's here?
Brianna Texoni here.
Mask on here. Agenda. You get a motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Call the question. Eric?
No changes to the agenda for tonight. Thank you.
Call the question.
Balls you have aye.
Mays aye. Yes, who's aye?
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Public participation at this time.
Not at this moment, Mr. Mescon.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Dr. Sagi. At this time, we will adjourn to closed session where we may discuss conference labor negotiators, public employees, discussion. Do I need to move that? I don't need to move that. Conference, legal counsel, and student matters. Can I get a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Balls you have aye.
Mays aye. Yes, who's aye?
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on, aye. We adjourn this meeting for closed session at 6:31 PM. All right, we reconvene this regular board meeting for June 26, 2025 at 7:30 PM. Natalie, would you lead us in the flag salute?
Right, your heart, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, red, white, and blue, we salute you. That's right.
Mr. Faltzgrab, would you read the
Would you
civility
read it
statement?
The final time.
Oh.
please?
Natalie, go ahead.
When conducting the district's business, we will strive to communicate clearly and concisely with the respect for the time of others, listen objectively, carefully considering the opinion of others, understand the counterproductive effects of disruptive, demeaning, and intimidating behaviors, understand and respect district policies and procedures, maintain a respect for the rich history of the district and the efforts of others who have served in the past.
You.
Thank you. Report of action taken in closed session. There was no action taken in closed session tonight. Who wants to go first? Ms. Taylor Sutliff.
I want to begin by saying this is like extremely hard for me, especially because most of you have known me my whole life. You know me personally and you know the person I am and the character I am. For those of you that don't know me, let me introduce myself. My name is Taylor Sutliff, and I'm a community member, alumni, and previous third grade teacher at Meadowlark Elementary School. I'm here to make my final statement before I head to a new school district. First and foremost, I want to thank the AAD-USD for giving me the opportunity to come back to my hometown and begin my teaching journey. Meadowlark has always been a second home to me. While I did complete my own education through Agua Dulce, High Desert, and Vasquez, I can remember the numerous days and hours I would volunteer in my own mom's classroom at Meadowlark High School or Meadowlark Elementary. While doing so, I gained this passion and love for teaching. And I knew what better place to be than the place that welcomed me. With that being said, it brings me sadness to state my experience I had at Meadowlark, being a first-time teacher. With a little background knowledge, I learned I was expecting my firstborn son. And as you can imagine, that's already scary enough, as most of you are already parents. This was very daunting. It was scary, and I didn't know what the future held. I worked past my due date, and I ended up getting preeclampsia, and it was due to the amount of stress that I was under from my work environment. It brings me sadness to say that the new administration that was previously hired created a work environment that was unpleasant and unfit for my conditions at this time. I stayed though, and I committed myself to not only my community, but to my students. And if you know me, you know that this was my dedication. You know that I put my students and my community and Acton first. When returning back to the school for the remaining school year and the previous next school year, I was a nursing mother. And for some of you, you may not know the struggle. Being a nursing mother is very hard. Postpartum is not easy. It's very challenging. I was never adequately provided a room for pumping that included a proper lock on it. Due to this, I was interrupted by previous employees that came in and watched me pump. Due to increasingly hostile work environment and a frankly untenable working conditions, I am choosing to follow the following teachers: Katie O'Brien, Vanessa Stroud, Michelle Fernandez, Candace Palacios, Aaron Finn, Sandra Hamilton, Sandy Jacobson, and my own mother, Kelly Sullivan. And leaving the school district, let me not point out countless staff members that have also transferred or left these past 2 years. Since I have not yet received my own exit interview, I want all board members and Dr. Sahakian and HR Jackie Erdrich to consider this my exit interview. Unfortunately, all the countless emails, conversations I've had with several of you, in meetings that were recorded but never heard, I felt like they fell on deaf ears. I hope in the future that this district will listen to not only their teachers, but their staff, their parents, their community members that a lot of you are. Moving forward, it is very heartbreaking. I don't come up here to be another complainer. I don't say this because I want attention. I'm saying this because I truly care. I have a son that I would want to put in this district. I was born and raised in this district, and you guys, a lot of you know our family. We would give anything to support our students and our community. I want to stress and reiterate that I will always be here for this community and for this district. I do support these students. I support this community, and I support our parents always. And I have nothing further to say, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You almost had it.
Kelly Sullivan.
Right. Good evening. My name is Kelly Sutliff, and I was a kindergarten teacher at Meadowlark Elementary School for almost 14 years. I would like to thank this community and all my former students for 14 amazing years. You all truly made my job memorable, and I enjoyed every minute of it. If teaching was my happiness, then these students were my joy, and I am honored and proud to have been their teacher. I just want you all to know, and I want it on record for the reason I have decided to leave. It is not for the money or to be with my colleagues that have left before me. I am a professional with my own mind, capable of making my own decisions. And if it was for the money, I would have left decades ago. I wish I could erase the last 2 years. Our administrator brought in a very hostile and toxic work environment, one of separation and mistrust. The amount of retaliation, harassment, and unprofessionalism against teachers and staff was just unbearable. Now, I know you would like us all to believe that it was all made up, all the teachers, all the staff, all the parents. My response to that is this: board members, show up, come visit unannounced, look at the morale of the staff and the students, listen to the parents. Notice how many families are choosing to go elsewhere, and they're not coming back for High Desert or Vasquez. Dr. Sahakian, be present and mindful, make decisions based on best educational practice and not just community gossip. Community, get out and vote for board members. Don't let them get the position just because no one ran against them. If you have the time to contribute and can make a difference, run for the board. These are your kids. I will be leaving Meadowlark, but not this community. These kids have my heart and always will. I will be moving on to find my happy again and hopefully make a difference in another community. Believe me, these reports are not made up stories, and you will figure it out when more come forward. It's not going to stop. I have been here for a long time. I made it through 3 superintendents, 9 principals, and countless curriculum adoptions. I have never had a problem adjusting to change, and I still don't. It's part of my job. It's what we do. So to be told in a letter dated on June 2nd to the community by Dr. Sahakian that there has been some resistance to the change in instruction that has been implemented. Well, that's just ridiculous, and I'm not even going to address it. It's not the change. It's not the test scores. It's not even the curriculum. It is the school environment, the leadership, and the morale. You have lost many great teachers. I would have stayed. They would have stayed. We love this community, but we can't stay. Thank you.
Thank you. Correspondence, proposals, and reports.
Hang on just a minute. I'm gonna
Yep.
call for a recess.
5-minute recess, call the question.
DeJillian, I.
Falls Graph, aye.
Mays, Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, I.
Mask on. We reconvene at 7:46 PM. Item 7, correspondence, proposals and reports. Dr. Saki,
There are no reports at this time.
no out of rep, CSCA rep. Okay.
I'm just going to confirm since we have our CSA rep here / technology. I want to confirm. Nothing to report this evening. Thank you.
Anything from the student rep tonight?
Starting with High Desert this evening. High Desert is officially a national school to watch as well as a California school to watch. Mrs. Van Ornum, Mrs. Alford, and Mrs. Seymour are proud to represent High Desert Hawks and accept the national award in Washington, D.C. today and tomorrow. Thank you so much to the district and school board for supporting our school to continuing to be a school to watch on our 4th redesignation. A short recap from Meadowlark. This year, Meadowlark focused on 3 core priorities: building strong foundational literacy through the SOAR program, deepening student engagement with AVID strategies across all grade levels, and fostering a positive and inclusive campus culture through PBIS. With a renewed emphasis on early literacy, we saw notable growth in reading fluency and comprehension, especially in our primary grades. Our teachers took advantage of professional development opportunities and collaborated to enhance Tier 1 instruction and interventional support. Through our AVID initiatives, students developed academic habits such as organization, goal setting, and evidence-based writing using the RACE strategy. We proudly hosted student-led conferences and saw an increase in student voice and ownership of learning. This year also presented its share of challenges, and Meadowlark wants to recognize the extraordinary resilience of our staff, students, and families. Despite obstacles, we remained focused on student success and stayed committed to continuous improvement. All 3 schools wish everyone a happy and safe summer. And that is all for my report this evening.
Thank you very much. Facilities and Finance, Superintendent report.
Thank you, Mr. Mascon. My report is brief. Just to go ahead and on the summer theme that Natalie touched on. Summer officially kicked off on June 20th. I want to share that I'm proud of all of our students and the academic progress they made throughout this past school year. Students, parents, and staff, thank you for your commitment throughout the year in ensuring that our students receive what they need to receive academically, socially, emotionally. Wishing our entire AADUSD community a safe and restful summer. To our student board member, Natalie, you made it to the last board meeting of the academic calendar, and you're still smiling. Kudos. I want to thank you for your dedication, energy, thoughtfulness you brought to every single meeting. Your updates were always insightful and showed just how much you cared about your fellow students. We're very proud of you and excited for all that's ahead. Don't be a stranger and make sure that you come back and share all of the great things that you're going to accomplish. We want to hear about it. So thank you again, Natalie.
You guys want to comment? Let's go around.
I'll
Ken?
catch my board member comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie, for everything you did. It's been fun working with you. Thanks.
Thank you, Natalie. It's been a pleasure. Your smile, your happiness all the time. It's great to have you around. Thank you.
You really brought such a lighthearted, just giggle to our board, which we so desperately needed. You're so fun to look across and just see you having a good time while taking care of business. It's been very fun to see you out and about at events, from football games, to the ASVBA dinner where you helped out and you were a fantastic representative of the student body. And to go from being ASB president, right? ASB president, and just really taking so much pride in not only Vasquez and your student body, but our entire district as a whole. It's been so fun to get to know you, and you're definitely going to be missed. You've created some big shoes to fill. So thank you very much for everything that you bring to our board.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been absolutely a pleasure and it's been fun. So thank you.
I changed my mind. Natalie, are you gonna need those flowers later? Cause I'm kind of in the,
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the doghouse and I could use those. Okay, that's all.
We'll grab a picture.
Cause I know you're gonna be famous someday. I can send it through the, or it should be okay.
I'd like the picture of me without the horns. You know, I can't believe it was third grade.
All right, Facilities and Finance Subcommittee report.
Facilities and Finance Subcommittee met this Tuesday, June 24th. We went over some of the facility project status updates, which they're doing a great job on. Metal Arc landscaping, painting of portable classrooms is just about done. The district office kindergarten, they've installed carpet, they've installed sinks in the cafeteria. They've done the panic hardware on the doors for exiting. They purchased some walkie-talkies in the staff lounge. There's still more to go, but they're doing a great job getting that stuff going. We did go over some cost-saving measures, which will be discussed at a future time. And we went over the facility survey results, which will be, I believe, brought up at another point in another meeting. That's pretty much where we are. We all are going to be meeting in July. We're not going to take a break, so should be second week, third week of July. Third week of July. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Dr. Hawking, why are we talking about cost cutting measures in the Facilities and Finance Subcommittee report? Have we had reduced funding?
Are we at reduced funding?
Yeah.
From the state?
State, federal,
Absolutely.
grants?
Yes.
How much are we potentially going to lose in grant funding?
Potentially on the horizon, I want to say about 1.5 million.
How much did we lose in the governor's new budget from a percentage base?
Mr. Nguyen?
COLA went down from what was proposed in January to was enacted in June. So we with a 1 percentage point reduction approximately.
Thank you. Education Subcommittee report.
We just met this past Tuesday. We had on our agenda to revisit our new STIS contract and Paula went over that and just some extra details pertaining to the STIS contract. And we did agree to add that to our future agenda, just because when that gets put into place in the beginning of the year, there's going to be a training right at the end of summer or the beginning of the year with the office staff that is actually putting that into place. It was already being used the last month or so of school. So they got a taste of it, and added some details and things that needed to be fixed and adjusted and what was working and what wasn't. So I love the feedback from the people that are actually putting that into place. And so we're able to look at those, and, ease of use is going to be huge if we're going to get parents to actually go through with the new STIS contract. For those of you that don't know, short-term independent study, pre-COVID was 5 to 15 days. A student had to be out for a minimum of 5 days. If you're going to be out for a minimum of 5 days, you sign the contract, get the work in, and when the students turn in all of the work that they had missed while they were out on vacation or sick or whatever, they get counted in attendance as if they were in class. After COVID, that changed to, it can be a minimum of 1 day, so 1 to 15 days. So if a student's going to be out, if you're going to go to Disneyland, if you have a doctor's appointment, or if you're sick, signing that independent study contract and getting the work in means that your student will be counted present, and that absence, whether it's or would have been excused or unexcused, will not count towards your child's absence, towards their attendance. So they can potentially be absent for a day and still have perfect attendance, which is super cool. That also helps us with ADA, and I think it's going to be huge in increasing our ADA back to pre-COVID numbers. We're really looking at that 95% that we had in 2019-20-ish, I believe. I would love to supersede that, get up to 96, 97%. That would be fantastic. Right now, we're sitting at about 89.9, 90% of our attendance. So we did look at that, and we also put it on for future meetings. And I believe that we'll just be putting that on future meetings just so we can discuss it and see how things are going. We also talked about the instructional continuity plan. This is a plan that is put in place, and it's required by the state, right, Paula? Required by the state for if we have to be out for any certain amount of time, if there's a flood, if there's a fire that destroys our buildings, if any catastrophe, being out for a pandemic, again, God forbid. It's a plan on how the district and the families will deal with that. And it spells out quite a bit. I know Paula and her team have done a fantastic job with that. It's a really detailed document. We talked about it. We also talked about putting things into place for things that we know are going to happen. And we talked about, we know we're going to have power outages. So what are we going to do when we have a power outage? And that's not even a if, that's a when. We know it's going to happen. So we're going to revisit, I don't know if we'll revisit the instructional continuity plan. I know Paula wanted to put a few more details into that plan so that everything's all in one place, but then also make our what if, when there's a power outage, what are we going to do available to our community and to our families and students so that we do have a plan in place for when that happens. Again, we just want to make sure that that's communicated out. So that is also a work in progress through the Ed subcommittee.
That's awesome. Thank you. What does 1% increase in ADA mean from a revenue standpoint? Kai might be able to answer that.
Yeah, it's about $160.
So if you got 5% increase in your 800,000, yeah, I know, you could fix all of our problems. There you go. Wish you luck. Let us know how I can help. Policy and Management Subcommittee report.
Yeah, we reported out. We had a policy management subcommittee meeting before the last school board meeting. We session until fall. I do have this to say, the committees that you're seeing work, the facilities and finance subcommittee, the educational subcommittee, issue about our electricity getting turned off and then the school being notified 15 minutes after. We have commuter parents, we have people trying to arrange childcare, all of those things. And then suddenly you don't know what's going, and then sometimes people in the community want to feel this way, and then other people feel this way, and it's just a phone call or something. So what these teams try to do is one of the subcommittees have 2 board members. That's not enough to make a decision, but it's enough. You would hear me if I were down there saying, what does the subcommittee think about this when we're talking about the budget, things like that. Anyway, it's pretty much common practice in high functioning organizations. But for example, the power issue, the Facility and Finance Committee, for the first time since I've been on this board for almost 10 years, sat down and budgeted a series of plans and earmarked funds for those plans. And those plans are basically so your kids don't have water running down, not rolling all over the place. People aren't, we had an issue pop up in board member comment, or there's been public comment, but we have the right facilities for employees, et cetera. So if somebody decides that they can't buy a generator, then what happens? They go to Paula, and Paula says, okay, what can we do to get our days back? Because whether the state issues you a credit or whatever they're doing, you're missing educational days. And I couldn't remember what I was taught 5 minutes ago, much less missing 3 days. And blowing, not hard enough to apply time. So once it gets through that,
Make sure your mic is on.
oh, it's way on. Should I start over at one?
Rain Man Memories, I can do that. Are you through yet? You need 6 more meetings and you'll get there, trust me. So at the end of the day, when it gets to the policy and management group, because they're trying to do everything they can to make this all work and come up with a reasonable plan, so you guys aren't looking for a place for your kids to go and go to your job and everything. I could go on about that, how that works, but it gets to the policy and management group, and that group takes a look at existing board policies and says, forget what the state says, forget this or this. We need to think about what matters for our district. So that's how these subcommittees are supposed to work. Also, it is a great tool. There's a library. I've asked that IT put a keyword list together. So if you want to know about expansions, suspensions, how policies are developed, we don't just come up here and decide because I got 3 phone calls from Arizona that I'm going to change board policy to whatever I want it to be. That's not what's happened. So there is a means to look at these movies that we have and go through them. If you want to run for board, if you want to be an effective school site or safety committee member, it's all there. What I tell people is these subcommittee meetings, it's a good place for you to kind of have an inside look at the business below this level and how it's developed. So that's the idea. This group, how policies are developed, changed, sometimes we're required to change them, and how they're maintained. So guys, this is a full year of something I wanted for years, and you all have done really, really good work. And I would like to say that staff pretty much runs the meetings because of those people over there in the staff row. So thank you.
Thank you, Ken. You're absolutely right. If you have any interest in being a board member, which it sounds like some people do, that's a great place to learn all the stuff that you'll have an opportunity to have to weigh in on and be able to have an opportunity to have your voice heard and influence some things. Submissions.
We don't have any submissions for this evening. Thank you.
Item 8, consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
I'll second.
Dr. Sakin?
Are there any items that need any clarity for the consent agenda items?
Discussion? Call the question?
Jillian, I.
Falls your FI.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascon, aye. Item 9, personnel. Can I get a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Dr. Sakin, any changes to the
No, there are no amendments or addendums to the PAR. Thank you.
discussion? Call the question?
The Jillian, I.
Falls your FI.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mascon, aye. Subject B, memorandum of understanding between LA Speech Pathology Services Incorporated and Acton Agua Dulce Unified School District.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Dr. Saki,
Thank you. So this contract will secure a speech language pathologist, an SLP, as requested through independent education evaluation by a parent with a student with disabilities at a cost of $2,750.
discussion? Call the question?
DeJulian and I.
Ballsgraf, aye.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on, aye. Subject C, memorandum of understanding between CSEA, AADUSD, chapter number 473, and Acton Agua Dulce Unified School District, extension mechanic duties in transportation. Motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Dr. Sakian?
Sure. Given our difficulty in hiring a second part-time mechanic for our transportation department, we currently have one that's been hired and contracted out. So this MOU would just extend their contract from December of 2024 to December of 2025.
Discussion? Call the question?
DeJulian and I.
Ballsgraf, aye.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on, aye. Item 10, Student and Education Services. Subject A, Strategic Plan Update 2024-25 School Year Information. Subject B,
No, just information.
what's that? No. Still have to move it in, right? Oh, okay. Move it in. No, just information only. Dr. Saki.
Thank you, Board. This is an information item.
Oh, it's
As promised to the board and to the community, we have a strategic plan update presentation. It'll be short and sweet. Goal 1 is what we focus in on. As we know, for the updated strategic plan, we had 5 goals. Goal 1 kicks off the plan. The plan goes from 2024 through 2030. It's typically a 6-year plan. So goal 1, student achievement, indicates improving student academic, behavioral, social, emotional success for all students in order to graduate from our schools ready to be independently productive and purposeful leaders in college, career, and life. So we're very deliberate, my team and I, in focusing on just one goal as part of the update for this evening. Next slide, please. Thank you, Caesar. So how we tackled this assignment, we did a SWOT analysis. SWOT indicates strengths, looking at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And this is an exercise conducted with my immediate team, cabinet, over the course of a couple of months, which allowed us to identify what we do well, where we need improvement, potential growth opportunities, and potential challenges. And again, our focus with this exercise happened to be goal number 1, student achievement. So to share a few insights from my team and I and what we came up with, I'll start off with strengths. Building capacity through professional development. This typically is tailored professional development, staff training based on tailored needs of our staff. New platforms presented such as iReady, diagnostics, new curriculum adoptions such as math, interim assessments at Vasquez High School such as Renaissance, test prep motivation when it comes to standardized testing through the state, interim LPAC assessments, the English language proficiency assessments for California. New for this year for 24-25, we have a new HR standalone department, positions being filled rapidly with highly qualified candidates. Then we went to weaknesses as part of the exercise. Turnover of certificated and classified staff has been a challenge. Difficulty with change, such as newly adopted platforms and curriculum, because there's always a learning curve and time to get adapted to new platforms as well as curriculum. ADA, I know we touched upon it earlier, the average daily attendance needing improvement. Ed Services Cabinet, myself, we have an aggressive ADA recovery plan. I know that Ms. Taxoni, Vice President for the board, she touched upon the Ed Subcommittee work regarding the short-term independent study. We're looking at a Saturday school for recovery of attendance and instructional time that has been lost. So that is well underway for 25-26. Next slide. Thank you, Caesar. Opportunities. Defining clear objectives as we move forward for each department and for our schools. Finding innovative ways to engage our parents and community to increase that parent involvement. Building from within a teacher induction program that we have in-house to have our teachers clear their credentials has been quite successful. Innovation, kindergarten joining the Little Owls Learning Center, a learning space tied to enhanced engagement. For fall 25, split elective blocks at High Desert, which would allow students to have more selection and choice when it comes to electives and exploring their interests. Threats, state funding reductions, we touched upon it. I know Board President did ask our Assistant Superintendent for Business. General fund contributions, particularly from the SPED allocation, never enough coming from the state for any and all districts. Aging facilities and technology is something that we face as well as all districts. And inclement weather and power outages. I forgot to even mention water breaks. We've had that too. Moving forward to the next slide. So tonight's focus is one of the platforms that was supported and approved by our board. So thank you to our board for supporting our endeavors in student achievement. We're going to focus in on kinder through 8, our iReady implementation for 24-25 focus. And I'll kick it off to Dr. Chamberlain to go ahead and break this down for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sakian. Is this on? Okay. All right, I stand here. Thank you and good evening, board members. I get the pleasure and opportunity to share some of our iReady data. And interesting, we have a lot of teachers that contributed to this, so I want to thank you in advance. So what iReady is it's an adaptive platform that is a way to use assessment tools that deliver accurate, actionable insights to our students and their academic growth, and with an emphasis on math and literacy. It helps us know what students need next, and it's reliable assessment data grounded in research. It's a norm reference assessment as well. It also helps us understand where students, what they know and what they need to know. It provides a lot of high quality items as it relates to learning and alignment with academic standards. It also helps us connect data to instruction, and it meets unique needs of each learner with assessment data that's fully integrated with instructional options. So the really fun part, can you like zoom in on that a little? Just so you guys can see it a little bit better. For me, this is fun. I can tell you, wait, let me go ahead. Just some of that small on there, I want you to be able to. So what this first slide is this is High Desert Math. And this is looking, this is end of year data. And this is all grade level. So there's 5, 6, 7, and 8. Which it's hard to see in the red is what the red is, and I don't know if I can read this one either. It's so small now. I made it a lot bigger. We went from 15%. So the part that's hard to see is all the way on the right. There's like red, and there's red with black lines, which is the lowest level of academic performance. So we moved up in that area 15%. And we moved up in the other red area 15%, so a total of 30%. We had a 30% increase as well in the yellow, and together in the green, we had a 31%. So if you look down in the bottom, those sorry, you guys, I wish this was easier. I think when you make it big in, it'll be big enough. But the ones on the bottom is grades 5, 6, 7, and 8. 5's at the top. 5th grade they had an 82% increase, and 40% of students actually improved and improved on the learning target, with 62% meeting their stretch growth, which is like an additional growth area. For grade 6, they actually exceeded the national average at 121%. And they had 55% of students met or exceeded their growth targets. Grade 7 had 58% with 42% of the students increasing, and grade 8 had 63% overall growth and 41% of students moving from where they were, like moving bands. So for the next slide, this is also high desert and this is reading. And so for the red, we moved up 34%. And for the second red, we moved up 15%. So in the yellow, it looks like 35%. Oh, should I wait? Sorry. When I was reviewing this data, I'll apologize. It was on my computer and this copy, either my eyes are really got worse or it's a little blurry.
It's small.
Okay. So
You
when
you could thank me for that.
oh, you know what? Sometimes you love technology. Let me do it this way. Oh, dang. I don't know if that really helped. Okay, let's see. Let me go. No, enter. Okay, back. Back one. So, okay, I'm going to go back to that first slide. So I could make it bigger on my other screen. So for fifth grade, again, that was 120. Let me make sure I'm on the reading. Okay, I'm on the high desert reading one. So high desert for fifth grade, they had, so the 123%, which is the top of the 4 lines at the bottom, is in excess of the national average. So we had some really, really great reading scores. We met with the iReady team and they just were really blown away by how well the students did. For grade 6, we actually had an excess of 200, we had 214% above the national average. Grade 7, it was 125%, and grade 8, it was 178%. With grade 6, over 60% of students exceeded their target range and moved up. In grade 6, 78% of students moved up. And grade 7, we had 40%, and in grade 8, we had 58%. And so in the red, in the farthest to the right, the lowest area, we moved 34% of students up into the next area, and 16% moved from the red, which makes the yellow get a little bit bigger, but we still had 25% of those students move. In the green, we had a total of 25% of students who moved into the green, and the green, the solid green is at grade level, where you see the little black lines that are students now achieving above their grade level. And this is first year using this diagnostic. So let's see, now I'm on Meadowlark and I wish I could make it a little bigger. So I have the Meadowlark math. So 81% of students met their targets and grew. So that's the first chart on this side. For the, so the red, we had kids went up from 8% to 12%. In the yellow, we had 27% and another, I think it's 59% of students moved. And then in the green, we had 25 and 24, so 29% of students moved. So we had a lot of growth. From the beginning of the year, the red got a lot smaller, so that's always really good. For our grade, for our kinder kids, 84% of students moved up from where they were at the beginning of the school year. Grade 1, 72% of our students moved up. Grade 2, 69%, and grade 3, 79%, and grade 4, exceeded the national average at 111%. So really, really saw a lot of growth. The next slide is the Meadowlark math. And so for the Meadowlark math, for the blue on here, this was one of the biggest areas of growth. And yes, it's reading. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, so this is the Meadowlark reading. This is one of the biggest areas for growth with 103% for the total for the year. For the red, we moved from 9% up to 10%. We had growth in the yellow, a combination of 52 and 23%, so 75%. And then in the green, we had the 11% and another 6% of kids that moved up. With the green being pretty much the same as the yellow, at the end of the year, we ended up with, I think it's 45%. Sorry, the numbers are pretty small in here too, that were of students actually performing at grade level or below. That's the school overall. Broken down by grade levels for reading, 76% of our kindergartners moved up to grade level. For grade 1, we had 88%. And for grade 2, they made 113% growth. For grade 3, they made 127% growth. And for grade 4, they made 143% growth. These are some really great growth numbers. There was really a lot of work done at both Meadowlark and High Desert. This is a K-8 program. And I mean, we've gone over this data a lot. We've been super excited about it and shared it at places, but at sites, but it's really exciting to be able to come and stand before the board and share with the community the growth that we saw based on the work that our teachers did to support our students in math and reading.
Thank you, Dr. Chamberlain. And thank you for providing us the opportunity to provide the update for goal number 1 for 24-25. Thank you, teachers, Meadowlark and High Desert, and students. Great work.
Yeah, thank you, Paula. I think that's fantastic to see that sort of growth. And with the iReady, we're able to see real data from right now instead of waiting on the state dashboards that are often years behind to actually see our results.
This data, this is beginning, middle, and end of year data. So it's live data. With the CAS problem with the state testing is it's 1 day. And it's everything you've done. So if I come to school, I'm not feeling well, I might not test very well. This data really is the data that we really use. When I say we, our teachers really use to drive instruction.
So you can see real-time effects of your decisions and things that you're doing throughout the year. It's fantastic. All right, item B.
So,
Yep, you have more?
of course.
No.
Oh, no, I got nothing. Don't look at me.
All right. Let me tell you about what I do. I run widgets and living things and people that deal with them. Okay. And I can literally sit at a computer and I can tell which person running which piece of equipment is working faster, less, more, how big it is, what the quantity of work, what the quality of work is. I can sit there in my office and do that because all the stuff has computer tags on it and I can tell the speed at which it moves. And then all I got to do is get in my car and drive by with my little suit on and go, oh, that guy right there, how long has he been with this company? Because it's all subcontracted out. And what I want to know about these things is this an indicator of teacher efficiency?
Yes.
How?
So how is this an indicator of teacher efficiency?
Yes.
Well, to start, like, first of all, teachers have to, and there was a lot of professional development. Teachers spent a lot of time with iReady and with iReady staff and with the staff at the school learning how to use this program. And a big challenge for kinder, especially because kids have never done this. So it's a lot of work for kinder and first grade just to get the kids on here. So the teacher efficiency piece is just really working with the kids using their new learning to teach the students how to use the program. And then the way the program works is that teachers have the students on the program. It's a diagnostic for 40 minutes each week. You can break the 40 minutes up into 220s, 15, but the research shows that time after 40 minutes doesn't necessarily give you the biggest bang for your buck. And our teachers did that. How do I know that? Because on the back end, we can see who's doing it. And our teachers were 100% really involved in making sure that our students had the opportunity to spend that 40 minutes on the diagnostic every week, to answer your question.
Okay, so I was the kid in fourth grade that put a lit cigarette on George Washington, so I don't know what iReady would have done for me. But is this just a better, I'm sitting up here going, are we finally able to capture data? Is that really what's happened?
I would say yes.
So again, how does our ability as a district to provide the tool to capture the data, how does that relate to what this would have looked like 2 years ago? Or 3 years ago?
Well, I mean, if we had it 3 years ago, we could have used it 3 years ago. I mean,
Right.
And we
So-
didn't. It was the state assessments that we would wait for.
Okay, but this sounds like this program is kind of taking my tree inventory and showing me real-time data and all that kind of thing. And so I'm wondering if the test scores are not more an indicator of a more accurate data capture than it is a teaching methodology.
well, I think it's both. So the data is giving teachers feedback because they're on the computer 2 or 3 times a week. That when the student's on the computer doing the work, it's giving teachers live feedback on what exactly the student needs to know. So if you're in a classroom teaching a class, you need to differentiate because kids are at different levels. So you do your best as a teacher, but that's super hard when you have 25 or 30 kids.
And one of
But-
them's me, right?
Yes.
Get that part.
Yes. And so now this supports the teacher in that what iReady does is when the kids are working on iReady, it targets exactly what you need to learn. So every one of you might need to learn something different. It targets exactly where you need to learn. It gives the feedback back to the teacher in real time. It lets the teacher even know, hey, you can take these kids in group and work in them in a small group in this like fractions, improper fractions. So the teacher may then grab this small group, which they do. And now I know specifically what areas to work with the kids in this area. So it'll give you 3 to 5 different groups and it's constantly changing. So as soon as you learn something, you may now move on to a different concept in math or reading, where if another student's still struggling, it gives you that feedback. If a student is struggling, it gives a teacher an alert. So the teacher can go in and start supporting the student one-on-one. So it's not even like you're not just leaving a kid on a computer. It's live during the class while the teachers are using it.
Okay, I appreciate your competent ability to have this discussion with me. But when governmental agencies subcontract things out, typically what happens is like they won't pay somebody's long-term pension a burden and all that to have somebody run one of these inventory and data programs. So it all gets subcontracted out. And when it comes time when you're going to change programs, you're kind of sentenced to the computer using it gives whoever's doing this an advantage. Kind of like trash contracts and things like that that get subcontracted out. You lose your internal capacity. And in my world, this ends up with stacks of paper this deep where no one is entering the data. And then you don't know what's going on with your inventory. You know that it's out there, but you don't know what's been done to it and all that kind of thing. What's the reliability of this 5 years from now? Is this a state mandate?
No,
I
it's not
voted
state
for this,
mandated,
right, to buy it,
mandated.
right?
Yeah. iReady's been around since before COVID. When I was at administrator elementary school
I've
years
been around
ago.
since 1960 and the result wasn't pretty. But 5 years from now, is this a mandated program that a lot of people are using and we can depend on it to be there?
We can depend on it to be there. It's not mandated. We choose
Okay.
our curriculum.
So my final question is, how do we do a better job at communicating what the teachers are using and what that means to the community, like to the parents? Do the parents know what this is and how the classrooms are being managed? And hang on. You'd have to fill out a speaker card. The answer may be interesting.
Well, from my perspective, one way is through board meetings like this. We also do it through PTSO and PTO meetings where I meet with families that come to the meetings. Not as many teachers are necessarily at those meetings, but when we go over LCAP data with PTO and community members, this data is part of it. So
Okay.
this data becomes, I mean, it's public through the LCAP too, but the LCAP really requires you to sit down with people and explain because it's such a huge document. I'm sure in the classroom, it's communicated in a lot of different ways through conferences, because I know teachers that have conferences with the students. There's reports that I'm assuming, and I'm making some assumptions that teachers are sending home. In addition, one of the things that we probably will grow into, we may not have done this year, is iReady lends itself really well to goal setting. So what the idea is, and what I've seen done, and what I hope we move to is, so teachers, the goal setting forms that iReady has as part of the system, it has the data. So if I'm if I'm a teacher, I'm going to use the goal setting forms with the kids to show them this is where you are. Let kids know when you tell a kid this is where you are, this is what you need to learn. Tell me what do you want to do, and have the kids set their own goal as it relates to what they want to do. And then when they do the next diagnostic, you sit down with them again. As a principal, when I was a principal at elementary school, I went with the teachers did that with their kids. Those went home. So that was the parent communication piece. And as a principal, I went to every single classroom, I met with every single kid, K-5. And I'm telling you, the growth, kids know. So iReady really lends itself well to being able to engage students in their own learning. And that's when it really matters, because as soon as I'm a student and I can understand what it is I need to know to do next, I'm a lot more of an independent learner.
So does this help kids feel like the teacher just doesn't like me because of one reason or another? This kind of gives you your own educational track to see where you're successful, and you might be struggling over here, but you're pretty successful here, right?
Yes.
And I want everybody to recognize she didn't get to the position she's in by not being everything, and a principal, teacher, all that kind of thing. And I do know at my age, when you come into my world, and I've been doing this for 25 years for the finest city there is, and somebody comes in and shows me a computer program and tells me it's going to outwit me, I might buck up at it a little bit. So when you add up everything that I'm hearing from all different kinds of things, I'm just wondering how this can be better understood and communicated to where everybody kind of goes, whether you're a teacher or a child or a parent. And I think we have a speaker slip, don't we?
Can I sit down?
Please.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, here we go.
My name is Christina Santa. I don't know enough about iReady to say if I would recommend it or not. I'm not trying to challenge it, but we're talking a lot about what's important to parents. We're talking a lot about attendance at school, and we're losing staff and all these weaknesses. But you have a problem that nobody is doing anything about. And you have an entire community that is speaking up to you about the principal that you have at this school, and nothing has been done. So at what point do you realize that it can't be an entire community that has a problem and what is conspiring against this one woman? When is something going to be done? And you guys have been notified of the issues. She is a liability to you, to our kids, to this community. And you knowing the things that are going on and doing nothing about it makes you negligent and makes you liable for her. And something's going to happen. She's, it's My son has been at Meadowlark for 1 year. He was at Little Owl before that. And in that 1 year, we have had issues with her, personal issues. And she's lied, made accusations directly to me, refused to answer my questions, and other things that I don't have time to get into right now because I know only I have a couple minutes. But in 1 year, I've already experienced an issue. 9 teachers, she named 9 teachers that have left because of this woman. 9. And you have families that are pulling their kids out of school, families that have grown up in this town who have been here for decades. And they would love nothing more than to have their kids in your district. And they are pulling their kids out. And we all know we need to keep attendance up, right? Because that directly impacts funding for our school and for our district. And so if you want to keep those numbers up, doesn't it mean something to you that all these parents are pulling their kids out of this school district? At what point do you do something?
So thank you. I'm back on. I'm not hearing in that comment that. Should we call for recess? I didn't hear anything in that comment that talked about how the program, its value, its methodology, and that the users, the parents, and the teachers are all coming together. We don't seem to be at that point yet, and I would hope that we could get to that point relatively soon. Bill?
I have nothing.
Dr. Sahakian, I thank you for your report, and Paula, I thank you for your detailed report. And I know that when schools say, hey, all of you teachers, you're going to learn this new program and we're going to implement this new program, and it's going to be one more thing you're going to have to do during the day. It's hard. I know that that is something that teachers don't always love to hear. Like, what do you have me doing now? What do you now next year, which is going to be something different. I would hope that by what we're seeing and the improvements that we're seeing, that this is the program that's actually going to stick. So teachers don't need to learn a new program in 2 years because we've decided something else is better. I really hope this program is as promising as it sounds. It sounds fantastic. So thank you to the teachers for learning and implementing this in the classroom and putting the time and the effort into implementing this program. If teachers weren't on board and if staff wasn't on board, we would not see any growth, no matter how fantastic the program is. So I'm glad that we have the program. I'm glad it's showing results. I always like to see when we vote to purchase a new program, I like to see the results. So thank you for bringing this to us. Thank you for the presentation.
Yeah, thank you again. Data-driven directed results are usually way better than brute force for an entire.
To be clear, it's part of our curriculum, which is a 7-year adoption. That we adopted last year. So I may not have been clear. It's not just a standalone program, it's part of our now curriculum.
Thank you. Item B, approval of local control and accountability report.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Dr. Sahakian.
Thank you. So we had our formal presentation of the 25-26 LCAP plan at the previous board meeting, presented again by Dr. Chamberlain. Tonight, we're asking our board to approve the plan so we may move forward on it. Thank you.
Discussion? If any of you want to see everything that the district's planning, everything it thinks it's important, all of its goals, there's a very large document called the Local Control and Accountability Plan that's publicly available that I would encourage anyone who's curious to look at. You'll learn a lot through that. Call the question.
DeJulian, I.
Paulsgraf, aye.
Mazak.
Suzai.
Brianna Taxoni, aye.
Mascon, aye. Subject C, 25-26 local performance indicator self-reflection. Dr. Sahakian.
Thank you. I'll call up Dr. Chamberlain once again.
This reflection that I presented on, I presented again, because I count slides, but I'm. It was just a reflection on, do you want, it's a consent item.
Information item on the agenda.
It was part of the presentation. Remember last time when I did the LCAP, at the end I did the indicators. I have the slides, but
So you did it at the first read last time.
yes, we did a first read. Yes,
And there were quite a few questions.
I believe so.
Yes.
That's all. That is the document.
In order to change this to an action item from in our,
The consent item. So the LCAP is,
so what you're saying is that we need to vote on it. Correct? So this is just information and we do not need to vote on it.
only LCAP is voted on, but it's required that we present the reflection, the local indicators, which are reflection, at the time that we present the LCAP.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Let's do it this way. I'll move that this becomes a voting, an action item tonight. Do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you.
call the question.
I will abstain.
Aye.
Mazen,
D'Souza.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on, aye. So call the question for the local performance indicator self-reflection.
So I'll move.
Yeah, I'll second. Call the question.
Fallsgraf, aye.
Mazen,
D'Souza.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on.
Yes, I apologize for the discrepancy.
Item 11, business services, approval of the budget for the 25-26 school year.
I'll move.
Second.
Dr. Saki.
Thank you. So the budget report, which includes budget assumptions, projection years, must be submitted to LACO, LA County Office of Education no later than 5 days after July 1st. So we are meeting that timeline. So now we ask for approval of the 25-26 budget that was presented by Mr. Nguyen, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services at the previous board meeting.
Discussion.
Time to vote.
Call the question.
DeJillian, I.
We had a lot of discussion about this and coverage last time. Aye.
Mazen,
D'Souza.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on, aye. Subject B, approval of the proposal for Sun Country Playground shade structure.
I'll move.
Dr. Saki.
Thank you. So due to the good work of the Facilities and Finance Subcommittee, we were able to secure a proposal for 16 shade structures for Vasquez High School. Total cost, including the shade structures / umbrellas, along with the installation, is $220,000. This fee would come out of developer fees and not impact the general fund. Mr. Nguyen, any other items
After, yeah, great, thank you.
or input? Thank you.
Discussion.
I have something. You have anything? Is there equity in like playground structures where there are playgrounds like at Little Owls and Meadowlark? Is there equity in the shade structures in comparison to what's going to happen here? You know
Well,
what? I think that's a focus for the Facilities and Finance Subcommittee.
These are all being installed over at Vasquez as part of the.
I got that
summer
part.
project plans.
Got that part.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so I'm suggesting if there is no equity between putting shade structures at the high school and there are no shade structures over the playground equipment for the little kids, try to work that into your plan. That's my suggestion.
Thank you, Mr. Faltzgrad.
Yeah, there's all kinds of funding and stuff that goes with this. I mean, there may be surfacing issues at the playgrounds that stop you from putting something on unless you change that. There's all this too. It was a suggestion. I'm glad we're getting shade at the high school.
Any other further discussion? Call the question.
DeJillian, I.
Fallsgraf, aye.
Mazen,
D'Souza.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Mask on, aye. Subject C, approval of service agreement between Relay Hub LLC and Acton Agua Dulce Unified School District Medi-Cal billing.
I'll move.
Second.
Dr. Saki.
Thank you. As a district, we participate in receiving reimbursements for referrals to services which accept Medi-Cal. Since we do this, we are required to maintain an electronic platform for record keeping, housekeeping, to maintain all the records pertaining to this Medi-Cal reimbursement. This platform covers that mandate. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Sakian. Discussion?
I'm being a pain tonight, but who holds the data?
The district holds the data, and then we transfer the information. We work with Medi-Cal billing with Relay Hub to compile the information that we submit to.
So the confidential FERPA data on the students is held in our data structure and not by a third party.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah, I had some administrator one time call Children's Hospital illegally and asked for my daughter's medical records. I'll talk about that a little bit later. They're popping back up into my world. So the data belongs to the district and is not shared where someone could breach it and find out that all of our special education kids have this, and this.
That is correct.
Perfect.
Very
Thank you.
Further discussion? Call the question?
DeJillian, I.
Falls Graph, aye.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Taxoni, I.
Scott, aye. Subject D, amended agreement with Sansar Incorporated for the expanded Learning Opportunities Program, school year 25-26, not to exceed 365,000.
I'll move.
Dr. Sakian.
Thank you. For items 11D and E, I'll defer to Ms. Nguyen.
All right, thank you, Dr. Hawken. This is an updated contract where the district will provide after-school services up to 70 students for the fiscal year 25-26. Really, Sansar is going to be providing after-school services for the district.
Discussion? Hearing none, call the question?
DeJillian, I.
Falls Graph, aye.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Taxoni, I.
Mask on, aye. Subject E, amended agreement with Sansar for the expanded learning opportunities program, 30 non-school days, 25-26, not to exceed 85,000.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Dr. Sakian. Mr. Nguyen.
Thank you. This is an update contract with Sansar to provide services during summer as well as winter resource for basically after school and during school program when there's no school in session.
Discussion? Call the question?
DeJillian, I.
Falls Graph, aye.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Taxoni, I.
Mask on, aye. We have a board comments. Public comment? Yeah, you?
I'm new.
All right.
Hi, my name is Ashley Steffes. I don't actually have any children in the district yet, but I am here because I want to learn about where to send him or keep him myself. So I've never heard of iReady till today. So I wrote down my questions because I am not good at this part. One thing that kind of stuck out was she said that the kids decide what they want to learn next versus what's curriculum. If we started here and we ended up moving one day, would that set him on his own learning curve versus being on a state learning curve and being up to par with other schools?
Hang on just a second.
Yes, sir.
I move that we return to discussion on the item that we're discussing, which was Paula's update. Do I have a second? Thank
That's
you.
fine. I don't.
Hang on. Falls Graph, aye.
Mays, aye.
Jesus, I.
Brianna Taxoni, I.
Mask on.
What that did was it opens up the discussion again so staff can be responsive. Other than that, we just sit up here and go like this and we can't say anything.
So should I wait or should I not answer?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm new. This is my first meeting. I want to be involved because he's 4. I want to be prepared
Okay.
for what I'm stepping into. So I'm sorry if that's not correct. Again, so would that set him up for his curriculum to be in line with other districts and other state stuff, or would he fall behind because it would fall personal to him? I know you can't answer, so I'm just going to ask my
No,
question.
we can. Can we be responsive to that?
Yes, please.
It's based on what they know. So if I'm your student and I'm on iReady,
Okay.
it's going to fill in my learning gap. So it
Okay.
has nothing to do with what they want to do. It's based on what they're showing the iReady system that they know. Then
Okay.
that data is being fed to their teacher too, so their teacher can support the instruction, and it's all standards based.
Got it.
So if
Okay.
Kids do start to fall behind because sometimes they
Right.
It fills in the gaps.
Okay, all I heard was you say what they decided next, so that's why, no, you're fine. That's why I'm asking. I want to know. Okay, good to know. So then another part was my son is very hands-on. When we do trace the lines, color the dots, that doesn't work for him. We taught him to go outside and ride your bike. Let's go count apples outside. Let's go do this. So if he is such a hands-on person and we're sitting in front of the screen, how does that like balance into it too? Because if he's going to be on a screen, why don't I keep him home to do the screen and do my own outside kind of stuff? You know, that's,
So it's no more than 40 minutes a week. I believe.
is there rules on that? Like, does it
Yeah.
turn him off?
No, but teachers aren't gonna do it more than 40 minutes. Some of them don't even wanna do it 40, like
Okay.
it's like. And I think our teachers are breaking up into 10. I've seen it done 15 and 15. It's never done. With older kids, you might do 20 because it goes up to
Right.
8th grade. But for little, like kinders might be on 5 minutes.
Okay, that's,
So
like I
don't
said,
wanna, you know, we don't really engage the audience, so I don't.
no, I appreciate
I'm
it.
not misspeaking for the teacher.
It might be a better opportunity for you to reach out
I
to
mean,
Ms. Chamberlain via email, phone call.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's totally fine.
I could probably call one of our expert teachers too, so you can get the feedback from a teacher's perspective as well.
That's kind of where my feedback has come from mainly, why I'm here is because I want to know if I should outsource him somewhere else than here.
No, you shouldn't.
I don't want to.
Okay.
That's not my goal. I do not want him to leave this community. We love this community and we want to be a part of it, but I also don't want to put him in a hostile environment that I don't even know about, but I'm hearing so much about that. He's 4. He's not even like, he could go to TK, but we're choosing not to for all that we've heard.
Okay, can I help?
Yeah.
If you have questions that are very specific, I was trying to give everybody the opportunity to speak and to have a full discussion again, rather than not just sit up here and, okay, I hear you. I can't say
I
anything.
understand.
You voted for me, but I'm just a puppet. I don't like that. So it might be good for you to send the superintendent an email with your questions. And then if they're significant to the program, I would expect to hear back from
Okay.
from
That's
that,
totally
from
fine.
staff.
Love to.
Our teachers are unequal. We would love seeing like digging with the kids.
I would love to see that. Like I said, I'm
You can reach
still
out to
learning.
either one of us and I will set it up. We have kindergarten. We have kids here now for summer, but when school starts.
Okay. So then my last question, I'll shut up and I'll sit down. If this is so online, would it be a better like option to have this be their homework to see where they go home and what they've retained? And then the teacher can bring it up in class and like address it that way? Or is this like one or the other? Like I said, I'm still learning. I'm so sorry.
I
for
think it'd be
wasting
best if
time.
you link up with, yep.
Not,
Susan. Thank you very much.
I would like to comment.
That as well, everybody. should.
Everybody else did, so I'm gonna pipe up too and give you my 2 cents. So I am a mom of 6. All of my kids, all of my kids went to Meadowlark. All of my kids went to High Desert. 4 of my kids went to Vasquez. 2 of them graduated from Vasquez. My job took me out to the Antelope Valley, so I took my kids out to the Antelope Valley. It had to do with driving and I wanted my kids close to me. I did not pull my kids because of the education here. It is top notch. Specifically at Meadowlark, I had 5 kids at Meadowlark at the same time. It was fantastic. My daughter, who's 19, she graduated in 2024, is now the librarian at Meadowlark. She absolutely loves it. She loves the kids, loves the staff, loves working there. My son, who graduated in 2022, now works at AVC, so he also has a job in education. And my daughter that just graduated in 2025 is going to Channel Island. She's going to be a history major and she wants to become a teacher. And I do believe that all of those futures in education that my kids have come directly from this school district and the care and environment that they received. Not every family has the same experience. At the time that my kids went to school here, there were families that were not happy. We've had several principals, we've had several superintendents at all of the schools. It happens, and I do believe that education is what you put into it. That's what you get out of it in any scenario. And I'm not trying to discount people that are unhappy or people that are happy. We, for my family, had a great experience at Meadowlark. And would I do it again? I'm in my 40s now, so I won't be doing again. But if I had it to do again, I would absolutely send my kids to Meadowlark. So that's my own personal experience.
I'm gonna say something too.
We can close this discussion out now and move on to board member comments because I have things to say along the emotional line.
I think just in general, this is a big community, and there's not much of a community here without a school district. It really doesn't exist without it. We'd be a bedroom community for LA without everyone's support to make this what it is. So I very passionate that everybody participate in every way we can. It is a great big family, and like most families, there's probably some dysfunction, but we can move through it and we can continue to fight through it. Board member comments.
Perfect. Yeah, I get the family dysfunction thing. I'm 2,500 miles minimum from any other member of my family at all times. So, moving ahead, Natalie, you have done a really, really good job. The smile and the Miss Congeniality, which by the way, that's Miss Taxoni, so that's not you. You are happy and cheerful, but I'm a linear person, so the smiles are wonderful and everything. I pretend I'm happy when I see my mother-in-law, but you were so inclusive down to every kid in your report. So you're talking about Meadowlark, you're talking about and High Desert and Vasquez, and there was never a political overtone. So you got no adult out there sending you in here, and I'll leave that at that. We'll be okay with that. You're your own person. You are your own person, and you think about what others are doing, even the least of them. So you are nonpartisan. You would make a wonderful public employee, ranging anywhere from a police officer to a district attorney. You cannot fill positions like that. Here's another one. This person is a police officer, very humble, has doctorates, all those kinds of things. But when it comes down to, as I know the both of you as people, you are looking to make sure that everybody has an equal chance. I applaud you. I've been talking in circles all the time. I think you've picked up the pattern. You know, I don't say anything without a reason. You're bright. Your future is bright. You are somebody that is going to shine out there and make this town proud. So I very much appreciate your service. Okay, give me the 20 now. Speakers, I'm going to show you this. We had to talk about this. These are my kids. The one was at Meadowlark. I think she has the Guinness World Record of being at Meadowlark. I don't know how many times all these people were her teachers. She was treated with dignity and respect. She skipped Meadowlark or High Desert. That's why Miss Van Ornum was the speaker at her memorial, because she never got to be her principal. But she was accepted by the Vasquez community. And this picture is her sister, who's finished second year of law school, works for a music production company, is working simultaneously on an MBA, and works one day a week as an aide to the county court office for the district attorney in Las Vegas, and works 3 days as in another office of the district attorney who does permitting for all kinds of whatever they're doing in Vegas. Hopefully it's good stuff and not some of the stuff that happens in Vegas, where I lived for 14 years. Anyway, these are my kids. I think that you two know these kids. And the little one passed away out of nowhere. And that one right there who was raised by that one right there. I got these letters from these little kids in that class, and they were the purest thing, as if God was talking to me through children. So whatever all this is, I don't know what it is. I don't have this where I work. I don't want it where I work. I don't permeate it at work. I don't give out Valentine's cards at work. We work and we produced a standard, and the people that work for me know their value as individuals. But this is what those two did. Whatever the rest of this, I don't know what it is. I'm not sure I want to hear too much more of it, though. I will be off the board next year. Can somebody watch the movies and figure out what education is and find out? Paula, you did an exemplary job tonight. That was so unorthodox for her to field questions, and I hope you can see that she's a professional. She believes in programs. I fully support what she's trying to do. And when she can stand up there and field any question you have, it speaks to her experience. And I'm glad she's here. And Miss HR over there, that's the first HR person that I've ever been able to get along with. And she's never signed a paper with my name on it. Let's put it that way. What else do we have? Looking ahead. You look ahead by looking backwards. I asked some questions tonight that if somebody can read my mind, I will want to know next year what this iReady program did for people, and it's whether the data that's being captured as a tool that the teachers support and respect, because I think the teachers knew what to do before this fancy program came along. They knew enough to send me to the principal's office so the other kids could learn. But I think part of teaching, what concerns me is all this COVID stuff. It put the kids at home. They lost socialization. And then they come back in and they don't know, because when kids are young, they learn their behaviors and boundaries by how the other kids are reacting to them. So when they're at home, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, we all know what Title IX is if you don't look it up, but I think it's really weird that one part of a family is always seen as the one that's got to always pick up the kids, and you're the one that has to go home when the kids leave and all that kind of stuff. So anything that this district, I just said something very politically dangerous there, by the way. I see what happens at work. I see who gets promoted, and I see who gets held back, and having children is not a reason not to be promoted, and certainly not a reason to be held back in your career. The bottom line is, if we up here don't look around and figure out through the subcommittees how to make sure that we're reliable, and you guys knowing when your kids can be dropped off, that they're safe there and all that kind of thing, I think that the subcommittee system has worked really good, and I've got a lot of examples of that. Whoever you are in the school district, whether you are a parent, a volunteer, a kid, a teacher, a staff member, thank you for everything that you have done this year in the interest of children. Your class, I made an internet movie and I read the class comments of these little cards. And I have to stop thinking about it right now. It was just like, and then they see me and they know who I am. It's like, I'm not the one to look at. Those kids are the ones to look at. I would love nothing better than to live long enough to know what they will turn into as adults, because they are what our community is all about. They don't know about all this garbage, and they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to worry about it. And if that's your focus, the next time you start feeling bad about somebody, feel bad about my kid who's in an urn that those people took care of. That's what I want you to think about. This community has supported me in so many ways. If you're going somewhere else, be as great there as you were here. Just do that for me, please. Okay, I'm really dreading this part. When I started here, there were all kinds of charters going on. And I knew it wasn't right, and I knew it wouldn't work. And I know that you don't pay taxes over here and then take the money and go somewhere else. And I got beat up so bad. If you can find it on the internet, there was a candidate forum in 2016. And I had people that were presidents of organization and groups taken after me in public trying to discredit me. And then just mysteriously, it all came true. Everything I said, well, it wasn't rocket science. But, you know, the comments, now these people are surfacing again. You'll see it locally. People that were administrators here. I mentioned earlier that somebody from this school district took my little kid, this one right here, called Children's Hospital and tried to get all her medical records so they didn't have to give her service. There's a foundation that goes with what she had. They called someone on the board of directors, hired them as a consultant to take her services away. Well, that person wrote the report on the college thing somewhere away. She saw her for 12 minutes. I don't think they work there anymore. I'm a champion of little kids, especially ones that can't fit in. Anyway, someone resigned from that seat 5 minutes before I left, before I was sworn on. The minute this board back then signed a consultant agreement to keep that person on while they went and moved all of the charter revenue over to a neighboring district. And then it's showing up in the newspaper now that they're making $350,000 a year and another $57,000 of the stuff. And when somebody finds out and runs them off, then their counterpart who did the same stuff to my child is doing the same thing. And they say, oh, well, it was all legal. People voted for it. Yeah, dummies like us. 9 years later, my reward for running that out of here is to be dogged by somebody. You know, bring our district back. Where are we going to bring it back to? We're going to bring it back to Florida or Arizona? Is that where we're bringing it back to? We're going to bring back to people who just built personal wealth on the backs of our students. Guys, I know you're upset. I can see it, but I've lived days where it was just, I was being attacked up here. Now I find out they're off doing it somewhere else again. Watch for it in the newspaper. You'll see it. We have come so far, but in what world does somebody steal $84 million of taxpayer money and then it takes a judge in San Diego to get them to stop, and they're back out there doing it again? If I were to look back, guys, we got charters coming in here this year for renewal. And I will tell you, the reason charters started is because they are supposed to provide alternative means for kids who aren't reached, underprivileged kids, kids with cognitive disabilities. I sat up here one time and said, you get these, they had a form, an application you would fill out to go to their charter, and it would ask you questions about the language your parents spoke. This is an ACLU lawsuit waiting all over it. I was getting shelled up here. I said, I will call the DA myself or you'll pull it out of here. It was really rough. I had such a wonderful board. And if you look back to get here, we've had Kelly Jensen, we've had Chad Wadsworth, we've had Tim Jorgensen, we've had some wonderful people come through here to build this up to where we can function at this level. But I will tell you what, it just bothers me to know that people will do this. So the charters, again, let me finish up here. The charters, if you're a charter and you're taking on kids that can't get through school and they're doing credit recovery because they're tired of feeling stupid because they fail math all the time. If you're doing that kind of work, we love you. If you're reaching kids that can't be reached, that's what you're supposed to do. If you're helping a kid who's afraid to talk, but is going to be an offshore welder, on a drilling rig and make a ton of money. How many people do you know that are plumbers and air conditioning people and electricians that are just wonderful community people, and they make a lot of money and they're good, hardworking people? If you're a charter that takes high school dropouts, if you're someone that supports a female through a pregnancy and gives them their dignity and lets them get a job, or couples that have to marry early, if you're a charter that does that, you will have my vote. But if you're going to come in here and you're going to stand up here and you're going to convince people out in the community and divide them so they can put you in place, these charters don't just come in to a community, they're let in, and there's certain people. You got to ask yourself, find that movie, that candidate forum, see how ridiculous it is, and ask yourself, is someone that grossly naive? Or is there something like this going on in the background? I would tell a judge right now, forget the investigations and stuff. Go right to the superintendent, the person sitting in that chair, and pressure them to find out who is on the vendor list, who's getting money, what are they doing for it, what's the duration, and what's the frequency. We're able to ask questions and hear about what these teachers are doing at 10-minute intervals, but yet we can't find out why somebody's punking me in a public meeting and clinging on to something. I've never seen married couples 80 years old that were more loyal to some hidden thing. So if you're out there, you're still out there. Yeah, it's me. Come on. I ain't got much more time to go, and I'm pretty empty. So let's make the end chapter a good one, shall we? Everybody, thank you for being patient with me. I've shared a lot with you. Each one of you has a success in this, and my board is wonderful. And I would hope that you would join me in clapping for what'd you say your name was right now?
And always get to follow that up, you know?
None of it was important, dude. Make
Okay.
them happy.
Thank you all for coming. Natalie, it's been great working with you this year. As they said, your smile, your giggles, it's always fun to see. And I know you're going to do great. Parents, thank you for showing up. Numbers matter, right? So we appreciate you guys being here. Teachers, we hope that your future is good and that you find somewhere that will be good for you. And everybody have a good summer, and we will see you in August.
Can you turn up my mic? I think my mic is very low. Or you guys got some great mics and I have a, no, I'm pushing this, it's on green, but can you? Hello, testing, see? Okay. I guess I got the broken one. Yeah, sure. How about that? There you go. So first, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight and for your continued commitment to, of course, our students, our staff, and our schools. I also want to apologize for missing the last few meetings. Work has been incredibly busy with the LA protests, and which kept me fully occupied there. I want to sincerely thank the teachers who spoke tonight and shared their reasons for leaving. It's disheartening to lose educators who poured so much into the community, into our students. My daughters have been with some of the teachers who left, so it really impacts me personally. So I want to thank you for that. Your voices, of course, your contributions will have a lasting impact, and your absence will, of course, be deeply felt. I especially want to thank Natalie for her dedication to the students and this district. Your service and your heart for education have not gone unnoticed, and I wish you the very best in your future endeavors. And as we get into the summer, I hope that everyone has a safe and enjoyable summer, easy break, and we'll see you in August. That's it. Here's your mic back.
Thanks, pal.
That works.
I don't have anything prepared, and I usually write notes through the meeting. And I said all of my end of the year Have a great summer. Thank you to staff at our last meeting. So I won't repeat that. So Natalie, I'm just gonna miss seeing you over there. So I hope the next person really brings that special touch. Every student board member that we've had since I've been on the board has been so dynamic in their own special way. And you really brought it this year. So just thank you. And I am definitely gonna miss you. And that's it.
That's all you got? Oh. Again, Natalie, definitely be missed. So, you can hold classes for the next representative.
Listen, if it's my brother, I wish you all good luck because he has never smiled a day in his life. So you soak it up now because he's a broody one, but he's a great kid. He's a great kid and he loves he loves my job. He
You'll
loves
have
my
to sit
job.
next to me by then.
It
We're
would-
kin for a little while. And then he'll
Maybe.
switch.
My brother
We'll move down.
loves him. My brother, they love to bully me.
Everybody does.
They love to bully me, I swear. Anyways,
Everyone who came tonight, thank you for attending. I think normally this is the last meeting of the year is absolutely zero attendance. So and it goes pretty quick. So thank you for coming. I know you all have your reasons for being here. And I think keep sharing your voice. I think it will always be heard. We're all here for a reason. Each and every one of us has kids either currently in these schools or they've been through these schools. So nobody pays us to do this. This is a volunteer position. You've got Mr. Faltzgraf, who works a very prestigious city down near LA. Mr. Mays, which runs a huge construction company out of LA. Dr. De Jesus, LAPD. And then Miss Brianna Taxoni, which is she grew up here. She's done every job here. And then myself. So I think we all care deeply. We donate a lot of time to try to do this, and we all do our very best to make the best decisions possible with the information that we get. And we're very involved in all of that. So nothing goes by easily. No decision is lightly made. It really is something we care deeply about. He said, I live just down the street. My kids are in 2 of the schools. So it's not like this isn't personal for all of it. And I believe in this school district more than you could ever know. And I mean it when I say that without it, like I've lived in communities that don't have local schools in the area. They really are just bedroom communities for whatever major city there is. We're extremely fortunate that we have this. And we've got to hold on to it and do our very best with it. And we have to participate in it. I know people talk about, I'm pulling my kids out because I'm unhappy. If that's a decision you make, then that's the one that you should make. But hurting the community is not the right decision by getting rid of pulling your kids from the district. I think you got to stick with it. You have to try every day on what you can do to try to improve it. It's possible. You guys, your voices are very important here. That's all I have. Thank you. Item 13, calendar. So when are we meeting next? August 14th. So there's a bit of a break. I believe 2 of the subcommittees will be in recess during that time. The Facilities and Finance Subcommittee will continue as we have projects that we're working through. If you're interested, and you want to hear what we're doing, then please attend.
What is the school start date? Okay, so this will be the second day of school.
Future agenda items.
Well, this will be populated
Yeah.
soon enough.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Thank you.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, that's why you should call.
I think I'm near made it to it.
Ready?
Your mic's on.
It's green, Jelly Bean. Keep it green, Jelly Bean. Could we have a budget discussion, an information item about what happens when we put our kids on the bus when this district no longer exists and they go to Palmdale? Can we talk about what the implications are to the property taxes here, given the average property size in comparison to parcel taxes, and what happens where they have 5 school districts over there with 5 sets of superintendent, 5 sets of support staff, 5 sets of everything. Santa Clarita does the same thing. While Long Beach and LA Unified, they got more people, but you don't have 5 sets of a mess that they're all running bonds. Because if we don't have our school district here, you need to get out of here. You're living a dangerous life there, Junebug. Insect order Coleoptera, by the way. If you don't have a school district here, your property will be assessed a parcel size tax for every bond that they pass over there. Could we have I guess it's the Facilities and Finance Subcommittee, do a brief presentation about what the fiscal impact on your property taxes would be if we lose our school district?
I think you'll notice very quickly, they pass a bond almost every few years, so.
Anyway, I need people to know. If there's something that will bring it together, let's join some of the parcel people or the charter people and make it about greed if there's nothing else. Thank you.
One final note. that-
And now they're getting bullied and they won't go to anybody. Because they witnessed that from the person that is leaving the school. She has something in front of my kids. They have witnessed her doing that. What about that? Personally, you're worried about, yes, we are pulling our kids out because of her.
We're gonna adjourn the meeting now.
All of you, everyone's sitting.
I will move to adjourn the meeting.
Second. Call the question.
The Jillian, I.
Mesa.
Brianna Texoni, aye.
Bascon, aye. We adjourn at 9:22 PM.